49ers quarterback Brock Purdy is about to be a multi-million-dollar man. That's right. But the million-dollar question is, who will back up Brock Purdy? Hit that like button, and we're going to get right into it. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, WayneBreezie. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're going to talk a little bit about Brock Purdy and who's going to back up Brock Purdy for the San Francisco 49ers in 2025. Before we get into today's show, make sure you hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. You can also subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching, all right? And if you want to support the channel, become a member of the Breezie Bunch crew. All right, let's go in and get into it because, Brock Purdy is, to me, the end-all, be-all for the San Francisco 49ers, and they're going to be losing both of their quarterbacks to free agency and Josh Dobbs and Brandon Allen. I don't expect those guys to be re-signed. We already know what happened, kind of like the situation with Josh Dobbs and how he felt there was no real competition, and I'm hoping that doesn't really scare anybody. So I feel like the 49ers may try to approach the backup quarterback situation in three ways. And I got a few examples, and I want to get your takes on it. And you guys can leave comments in the comment section of this episode just to let me know what you guys think or if you have any other options. But let's go ahead and talk about who will back up Brock Purdy. Because that's the million-dollar question. Who's going to back up Brock? Ding, 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 ding. I used to have that sound. All right. So, Brock Purdy, again, has definitely, got this 49ers team. He got the energy. I mean, we haven't seen the same. We haven't seen a type of effect on a team and a fan base. I would say since Colin Kaepernick, and we didn't win with any of these quarterbacks, right? We haven't even won the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy, but I feel like the confidence from the fan base understanding who Brock is, I feel like we're very confident. At least I'm confident in knowing that he is the driver and the driver's seat. I'm very confident in Brock Purdy, make no mention. And I think he's going to deserve every single dollar that his heart, acquires. And, with this quarterback extension that's going to be coming down. And I do expect the 49ers to pay him. I mean, why not? If you feel like he's your guy, go ahead. He's definitely a franchise quarterback. You can continue to build and win with Brock Purdy. Franchise quarterback simply means a guy you can build your team with and around, right? That's Brock Purdy. He's done nothing but win since he's been here as a third-string quarterback. Worked his way on up to the first-string quarterback. So Brock Purdy is solidified. So there will be no competition for quarterback one as long as Brock Purdy is on this roster. So let's get into how I think Kyle Shanahan should look at quarterbacks. I said we should try to address it, obviously, in two ways. You can trade for a quarterback, but that wouldn't make any sense. Me personally, looking to free agency. So let's look at a couple of free agents. We got Joey Flacco out there. Joe Flacco, you guys remember who Joe Flacco is? Joe Flacco is the seasoned, veteran quarterback that's not going to acquire much money. The one thing I know that the 49ers like to do is they like to save money. If they're going to be paying Brock Purdy umpteen $1 million a year, they're not going to want to spend double-digit $1 million on a backup quarterback situation. So if they're going to go backup quarterback, they're probably going to be looking to spend, league minimum. And so they're probably going to have to go the veteran route. Now, Joe Flacco, in my opinion, would be the perfect fit here. God forbid if anything happened, you can win with Flacco, right? You can win with Flacco, all right? He's not mobile. He's not any of those type of things. He's definitely older. He's 40 years old, all right? He's 40 years old. But, he's been in the league for 17 years. You get experience. He's a Super Bowl champion, right? And so that's something that you can add, to the belt. How can you help, I would say improve Brock Purdy a little bit. Maybe Joe Flacco can help Brock work on some of his arm strength, some of his deficiencies, but he definitely can provide that experience that you need from a guy that's actually won a Super Bowl. It's harder, it's funny. It's hard to take advice from people that, haven't done what you're trying to accomplish. How can you tell me how to win a Super Bowl if you've never won a Super Bowl? right? And so like if I'm gonna take advice for somebody, like I would want that person to kind of be more of an expert in achieving the highest goal, which would be Super Bowl champion. And so Joe Flacco is that. I like Joe. I think Joe would be kind of good here. What did Joe do last year for the Colts? I mean, he was the backup quarterback to Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis. Then he became the starting quarterback and then became the backup quarterback again, right? And so he played in 8 games. He started in 6 games. All right, so he played in 8 games, started in 6 games, went 2-4 throughout his stretch. He's 65.3%, kind of like the same completion percentage as Brock Purdy last year. It's crazy. He threw for 1,761 yards. He also threw for 12 touchdowns. He did have 7 interceptions. I'm sitting here looking at his interception ratio. It's not really good, but we know one thing: he's going to try to move that ball down the freaking field. 1,000%. He's going to try to move that ball down the freaking field. So I actually like him. He averages 7.1 yards per attempt. That's something that we see. Brock Purdy was the leading average, 8-point-something yards per attempt. So Flacco would come in. And again, like, you can trust that if anything was to happen to Brock Purdy, you feel like Joe Flacco would be the experienced guy that could come in and help your team continue to be successful. Because the 49ers need to figure out how to be successful. So a couple of key points. A, he'll be cheap. And B, he'll help your team be successful if anything happens. He would be a great plan B, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you feel Joey Flacco or Joe Flacco would be a great plan B for Brock Purdy, all right? Next, veteran. All right, so veteran is the first way you can look to attack, because when you go veteran style, you do know that these guys, if they've been in the league and they haven't been starting quarterbacks for a long time, they're looking to get a shot. They can come in and get, a cheaper deal. All right. So the next veteran I have up, Carson Wentz. I'm saying to myself, Carson Wentz is a free agent. All right. He played in Kansas City. We do know that I don't expect him to go back to Kansas City unless they offer him a decent astronomical number. In my opinion, I feel like he felt how Josh Dobbs felt about the San Francisco 49ers. And so I just feel like Carson Wentz would be available. And I know a lot of people don't like Carson Wentz. Throughout his career, he's had some ups, he's had some downs. He had a good year. He had the first time the Eagles, won their first Super Bowl under Doug Peterson. I think it was Wentz was the QB. He did get injured, and Nick Foles ended up winning, I believe. So Wentz does have, a good pedigree to him. He plays against the 49ers very well. Like, it's crazy. He played in 3 games last year. He started in 1 game, so he lost that game. So he was 0 for 1. He was 12 for 19, 63.2 completion percentage. He threw for 118 yards, no touchdowns. All right, but what do I like about Carson Wentz? Well, I think he still has the mechanics to be a good backup quarterback at this point in his career, right? You can win with him. And I think that's what I love about him. And he gives me more Brock Purdy vibes than Joe Flacco does, because I know if a play breaks down, if the pocket starts to collapse, I know Carson Wentz is looking to make a play, with his feet, with his legs. He's looking to extend the play, extend the drive. You're going to get that type of vibe from Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz would be money here in San Francisco. And then check this out. He's coming from a team that the 49ers can't beat. Andy Reid was in his mind, and he learned from Andy Reid. I would love to bring Carson Wentz in here and pick his brain and then install the Kyle Shanahan package, right? I think that would be pretty daggone cool. Now, what will his opportunity be? Will he get the opportunity? Obviously, the opportunity would come if anything was to happen to Brock Purdy. And this is not a video where I'm wishing anything to happen to our quarterback. Guys, this is the NFL, and injuries are going to happen to just about any position that goes out there, suits up and play on any given Sunday, right? But I'm just saying, if something was to happen, the Niners need to be prepared. They can't have backup quarterbacks like they've had in the past. They do like to go cheap. And I feel like Carson Wentz, as a veteran, would be another cheap option. I feel like he'll be a cheap option. I believe last year he made $3.3 million. if I'm the Niners, I'll budget $3 to $4 million for a backup quarterback. Flacco was $4.5 million. So yeah, $3 to $5 million for a backup QB. Sign me the freak up. I mean, Brandon Allen made $2 million. Josh Dobbs made $2.25 million. I feel like that's the number that the Niners want to they want to be at. They want to be in that 2 to 2 whatever million, especially now that they're about to pay Brock. But listen, the cap went up, and I feel like the Niners need to make sure that they get a good solid plan B for whoever is the backup quarterback. Now, the Niners could go a totally different route, right? They can go a route where they missed on some guys in, that 2020 draft, right? 2021 draft, right? You go back to the Trey Lance draft. There's some guys that are going to be available. Let's talk about a couple of those guys. And let's start with this guy. Let's start with Mac Tony Jones. Mac Jones, Kyle Shanahan, he was, all the experts, the NFL insiders said that he was the pick. Kyle goes Trey Lance. Why not bring Mac Jones here? Why not? He's not going to cost you much. He's coming off of his rookie deal. He'll probably be between $3 to $4 million. Okay? He's only 26 years old. I say, why not go for a guy that you had probably a first-round grade on? And this is something that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch likes to do. They go and get free agents that they had graded high that have become free. So I'm curious to see if they go this route. We do know that he can play in that short passing game. He played pretty decent, in my opinion, with the Jacksonville Jaguars when he had to come into the game. I thought he had, let me just look up his stats real quick. I thought he had a decent season. He went 2-5, which is not good at all, but he played in 10 games. He played in 10 games. He played in 10 games, started in 7 games. He was 65.3% completion percentage. I swear that's Brock's number. He threw for 1,672 yards, 8 TDs. He did throw 8 interceptions, though, and I do understand why people will be like, hell nah, boo, boo. But to be fair, I think under Kyle Shanahan, Mac Jones would trend up. Now, will this be some type of competition? Would Mac Jones want to sign with the San Francisco 49ers knowing he's going to be the backup? Hey, why not? You were just the backup to mother freaking Trevor Lawrence. And again, once you become a backup quarterback, yeah, you have to wait for your opportunity to present itself to show that you can be a starter again. Prime example, Sam Darnold. You got to wait for the opportunity to present itself. This is the NFL. The opportunity will always come. I like the Mac Jones route if they decided to go with a guy that's still young relative in age, that won't be competition for the quarterback one spot, but it may make Brock play a little bit better. He can get a different mindset. He's, working out with a younger quarterback, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of trying to take his job. I kind of like the competition. I ain't even going to lie. I don't like complacent. I don't like when quarterbacks are complacent. Like I hate when any position in the league is that way. You know what I'm saying? Like I always feel like there needs to be some type of competition to keep the iron sharpening the iron. That's just me. That's my theory. Whatever it is. Hit that like button, guys. If you're watching, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and click on subscribe. All right. The like button, you know what it does to the algorithm of the channel. We need likes. Likes are important. And if you comment, I'll comment back. All right, here we go. The second guy, Zach Wilson, because our defensive coordinator is very familiar with him. Okay, he might not have been the guy that he went with, but it looks like Zach Wilson then went to Denver, then got under Sean Payton, and then settled himself down. And for Zach Wilson, he's probably going to be the most expensive of these guys because he was a higher draft pick. But we'll see. He's a free agent. He's under 26. He's 25 and a half years old. 4 years of experience, obviously. Jets, Broncos, that's where he is. Where he'll be he's a free agent now, but he did his last tutelage under Sean Payton. So we get a guy from Andy Reid and a guy from Sean Payton. Like, sign me up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this can also, like, just really boost up that quarterback room to where now it becomes competitive and it becomes smarter. It becomes a lot more wise. I feel like these young guys can give them each other, a little bit of juice, a little bit of energy. And I like Zach Wilson. I know he might not have the build to be the quarterback. He does have some characteristics that, you fall in love with. He was a top pick in the NFL draft for a reason. But I think Zach Wilson, again, you got the defensive coordinator who used to be his head coach, right? He's the perfect mold size fit. He's 6'2", 214, just Brock Purdy, right? Like, that's what he is. We know he can move. All right. He played in 12 games. He didn't play anything with the Denver Broncos. He didn't get in. Bo Nix was just like, I'm never coming out. But his last time with the Jets, he went 4-7. He was a 60% completion quarterback percentage, 2,271 yards, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, and that's what you're going to get from these guys that the team just wasn't built for. I'm going to go on a limb and say, I feel like he played better, though, than Aaron Rodgers with New York. I just feel that way. It's super crazy. You know what I'm saying? Super crazy. But he could be a good prospect to bring in, a good option, to bring in. Again, iron sharpeneth iron, and competition. Like, that would be really cool. So if Kyle Shanahan decided to go the younger route, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, two guys they passed over. He also passed over Justin Fields, but I really feel like Fields is going to go back to the Steelers. I think they like him there. Let's go with some rookies, all right? Because this is where it's going to get a little tricky and iffy, and I feel like we will draft a quarterback or get a quarterback undrafted, all right, depending on how it works. Now, I got a couple of quarterbacks that I feel like are going to tear the combine up, all right? So Tyler Shugg out of Louisville. I've been on him since the Senior Bowl. If you've been watching my posts and anything that I post out there, I mean, he might have been on my risers as quarterbacks. I know everybody was there to see Jackson Dart, including myself. But this kid definitely was someone that was rising. I thought he had the best practices. I didn't think he had the best. I didn't think he played the best in the game, but the practices, he was the guy. Like, he was definitely good. He's an older guy, though. So, I know people, like, he's 26 years old. He's older than some of those guys we just talked about. He did 3 years. He played 3 years with Oregon. He played 3 years with Texas Tech. So he went from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, and then he finished his last year, 2024, in Louisville, where he was a 62.7 completion percentage quarterback, 3,195 yards, 23 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Just sounds like a guy, and you watch him play, he's a guy that can run Kyle Shanahan's system, smart guy. And, last year's draft pick, Bo Nix, was an older player, and I thought teams would stay away from him. He may be this year's draft Bo Nix. Now, if he does soar up and starts to trend upwards, then damn, it's a wrap. The Niners won't be able to get him. He's going to get drafted. He's probably, right now, I feel like he's like my quarterback 5 or 6 right now. You know what I'm saying? He's 5 or 7, maybe quarterback 4, 5 or 6. It's tough, right? But I feel like if he has a good combine week, he's probably going to trend up and end up being quarterback 4, quarterback 5, and 6 at the least, right? He's definitely going to trend up. But I think his experience, him being older, just allows him to be more wise out there on the football field, make less mistakes. He's seen a lot more football than some of these college quarterbacks that are coming out. So I really like Tyler Shugg out of Louisville. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. So if we draft a guy, I would love to get him. And then Kyle McCord, all right, from Syracuse. 1 year at Syracuse, 3 years at the Ohio State. I want to make sure I say that right, because every time I don't say that, I get thrashed in the comment section. It's like I'm disrespecting, like, who the hell put, it doesn't even say the Ohio State in front of it. You know what? It doesn't even say the Ohio State in the name of Ohio State. It just says Ohio State. I don't know where the has to come in, but you know what? Since I'm the WayneBreezie, I have zero problem saying the Ohio State. All right, let's talk about Kyle McCord. Why do I like him? Because he just seems like a Kyle Shanahan guy. overall Kyle Shanahan guy. All right, 66% completion percentage quarterback, 4,779 yards. Come on, man. Hit me with it. 34 TDs. He did have 12 interceptions. All right, he did have 12 interceptions. 6'3", a little bit taller than Brock, 210. Can't wait to see his measurables as far as hand size and stuff like that. But this kid can sling the rock. He has a strong arm. He has a cannon. And he's accurate. He's pretty damn accurate, all right? In my opinion, the accuracy is there. If you go with an efficient type of game, you're going to be just fine, all right? Now, one of my favorite wide receivers in this draft is Pat Bryant from Illinois, but I feel like the Syracuse guy is going to be a problem in the NFL. He would be a perfect guy that you can probably get maybe round 6, round 7. If we go quarterback, I feel like the 49ers won't draft a quarterback till round 7 anyway, or they'll just go undrafted. I don't see him going undrafted, though. I have him as a top 10 QB, so I don't see him go undrafted. Now, top 10 QB means he can be in the last round. The QBs in this draft are just not that great. You know, I only have one QB, like, graded in the first round, so it is what it is. But Kyle McCord, again, 4-year player in college, 3 years at The Ohio State. His last year was at Syracuse. His best season was in Syracuse, where he had his best season. I think he would be a problem. I think he'll be a great guy to bring in, just to have a young guy in here to learn what Brock Purdy can kind of mold. You know what I'm saying? And God forbid if something happens, he would step up. Now, he would be quarterback 3. I feel like Kyle Shanahan is going to address the QB situation both ways. Like, that's what he always does, right? He goes with a veteran guy, and then he goes with, possibly a young guy. Now, on the roster, we do have Tanner Mordecai. I don't want to overlook him. He's on the practice squad. He signed to the practice squad, so he may be bumped up. But the question is, who's going to back up Brock Purdy? Who do you want to back up Brock Purdy? Do you want to go straight veteran? You want to go with just one QB? Do you want to go with one of those mid-tier guys that are coming off their rookie deals? Or do you want to go with a solid rookie that can come in here and be molded into what Kyle Shanahan wants? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm your boy, the WayneBreezie. Don't forget to check out our sponsors over at residency.com. Use the promo code SBLVIII and you can save on your total purchase. Make sure you watch and like all the other videos that we have right here on the channel. It is football 24/7. You dig? Love y'all. Keep it faithful to the Bay, and until the next time. Peace.